So in today's video, we are doing a heatsink upgrade to this Bitaxe. So IX Tech, if you don't know them, they are the creators of the Nerd QX, which we've covered on the channel. They actually got in touch and they sent over their Mirage heatsink, which is a copper heatsink, a little bit bigger than this. And we're going to be testing it out today. So let's actually unbox all of that. We'll leave the Bitaxe there. So first thing that they kind of sent across was this, which is the Mirage heatsink with some stand, a fan and thermal paste. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And then they also sent across a Bitaxe holder, also sent across with this 3D print to put your fan in there. And I believe that allows airflow to be better, but we'll go through that in a separate video as I want to focus on just the heatsink today. Obviously, it comes along with a bunch of other parts as well. I believe this is for the Nerd QX or something along those lines, but we'll have to look more into it. A bunch of fan headers in there as well, and a bunch of brackets that we can use. And then lastly, they also sent over the Hydro V-Reg for the Nerd QX, so cooling that down on the Nerd QX, so that's great. We're going to show that in a different video as well. But just to start off today, we're going to be unboxing the Mirage heatsink. Comes in a very nice case, as you can see there, with, if we just click that off. So you have your pins or screws, and then this is the heatsink, which is extremely shiny. So I believe that this is copper, very thin on the bottom, which is good. So you transfer the heat up a little bit more. And then it has right here in text Mirage, kind of like, I don't know, a desert mirage where it's like shimmering. But this is obviously going to get my fingerprints on it very quickly. So first thing we need to do as kind of a test, we'll compare it against this heatsink that is sitting on the Bitaxe currently. So we need to benchmark that, which we'll cover off very quickly. It'll only be like a minute clip just showing you what the benchmarks are of this Bitaxe before we actually add this on. And then we'll do a comparison between just like the regular heatsink and this new one that we have here. So we'll head over to the computer now to do the comparison. Okay, so this is kind of our benchmarking test or results. So we've let this run for probably about an hour and a half, just on the normal, gathering some data with the normal heatsink. So this is going to be kind of our benchmark that we're going against versus the Mirage heatsink that we have. And we're just going to keep everything the same. So ASIC temperature the same, the frequency the same, and the input voltage. I know that that's a little bit high, but we're just going to have to keep it at that to keep it fair in terms of the results. So average hash rate is 1.15 terahash. Average efficiency is 14.55. And we're looking to either get the hash rate higher or the efficiency lower when we actually put the heatsink on. Currently, I don't think anything else should change. We'll make a note of the power as well, which is 16.7 watts. So if that actually drops off, then technically it's more efficient. ASIC temperature just sitting at 60 degrees, but that's already set. And then fan speed, you can't really control that because it's set to the ASIC temperature. But in my opinion, we should see a drop in the fan speed if it is better than the other heatsink, or a drop in the power. And then that would equal either more hash rate or more efficiency on the other end. So we'll try and make it as fair as possible. Obviously, there's things like how well you do the thermal paste that do actually affect this, but we'll try to keep it as fair as possible. So those are our benchmarking points that we're going to stick to. Now let's get back to actually adding the heatsink onto the Bitaxe, and then we'll test it out after that. Okay, so now we're back. All we need to do is actually unplug the fan from the Bitaxe. I'm assuming it's going to be very easy to do this. Click out these pins, if I can get to them. So might have to cut from here. We'll just cut it because I can't actually flick those in right now. But we'll have to get some pliers and click them in. Okay, so there we go. We're just going to click these out now. And there we have it. So we have the Bitaxe there, and then just the regular heatsink. Obviously, like we always do, we're going to have to clean this up to repaste it. And with this kit comes the Thermalite thermal paste. So I'll leave links to everything in the description if you want to get your hands on it after we've tested, kind of against the regular heat sinks. Now I'll give you my opinions at the end. So this also came with Thermalite TF7 thermal paste, which we'll use today. But firstly, we need to clean off the thermal paste and the dust around this Bitaxe. So there we have it, nice and cleaned up on the chip underneath. And you can see the binning number in there if you want to. But now let's actually move on to attaching the heatsink. There is a bit of dust on there, but we'll take that off now. So pretty simple. You just take the screws, open them up. So we have them. I believe that you can either do it either way technically. You can put the pins down through here, or you can put them up through and then the bolts on top. Today I think we're just gonna go with down through. I believe it's gonna sit like that, and then we'll put them like through so it doesn't actually touch the board. But now let's hit it with some thermal paste and then we'll just attach this on, and then we'll move over to attaching the fan. So there we go, we put our thermal paste on, and now all we need to do is attach the heatsink, which we'll show you now. So there we have it all fixed up onto the Bitaxe. You can see there's a bit of a gap there. I didn't really know which way to put this, as in airflow in this way or airflow in that way. I'm believing it's this correct horizontal like this, so it kind of flows up the board and takes off some of the heat from the voltage regulators that are on the back. It wasn't that hard to actually put in, and then the fans are a little bit higher. One thing I want to note is that if you have screws, they are going to have to screw all the way down to the bottom with a little bit of give at the top, as you can see there. Just a standard fan, nothing too fancy, no Nocta on there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We need to give it a whirl, and then we'll head over to the computer and start looking at the benchmarking. So moment of truth here, if we can get this to click in. There it goes, it's just going to start up. And now let's head over to the computer and see what kind of rates we're looking at compared to the older heatsink. So here we are on the AXOS. As you can see here, we have our hash rate and the efficiencies here. We're giving it a little bit of time to actually run up. One thing I've noticed when comparing it is that the ASIC temperature can't quite hit up into 60 degrees, so I don't think it's actually being technically as efficient. So the fan is running at the minimal speed, which it tends to hit up to 60, and then the fan comes down. So we might just have to set that as the fan speed, because the actual heatsink is doing a pretty good job of holding that heat off the chip, just to give it a more fair shot, as it's kind of over reporting on the efficiency due to the fact that the ASIC temperature is technically not at the best degrees it should be. The power is slightly higher as well, so we need to just fix the fan speed, I believe, at around 25. I don't think it can go any lower, which is one of the main reasons why I don't think we can get lower efficiencies as of yet. We'd actually have to push the hash rate higher or the overclocks higher. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to automatic fan control and just have this at maybe 23, and then hopefully that actually changes by here and allows it to stick at 23, and this can get up to 60 degrees, which is kind of what we need it to be at, as that's like the operating temperature of it. The heatsink is doing really well, so I don't think that there's any problem with that, but we just need it to kind of climb up there. Does look like it's getting maybe a bit too high, so maybe we'll fix it at 25%, but we'll just wait for that to actually run up first. So yeah, let's fix it at 25, and then we'll see what we actually get out of this. But we'll wait for that to actually settle out and give us a good figure. But going back to it, you guys can get one of these if you want to on the IX Tech page. I believe that this was the heatsink upgrade that they sent us, and then also this mount for the Gamma Turbo, I believe, which is actually on a different page, but they have a bunch of 3D prints, DIY stuff, The one thing that I didn't really understand was where this sat in terms of the fan. Or maybe we weren't supposed to screw it down and it was supposed to just fit into the slots on the heatsink. I am just kind of thinking that now. That's probably why that was included, so you don't have to actually screw these fans in, which makes more sense now. So I do apologize to IX Tech, kind of set that up the wrong way, but I don't think it makes much of a difference either having it set like that or screwed in. But I believe that this is what we were looking at earlier when we unboxed, which is for the Gamma Turbo, which we can actually set up as well. So this was with the back inlet fan. We didn't actually get the fan and the heatsink sent across, but we do have one spare, so we can actually make that upgrade onto our Gamma Turbo, which we also have another one coming along from Power Mining, and that's going to be the revised version, and I believe they're releasing that very, very soon. So you guys can use the link in the description to get 10% off on there. I don't have an affiliate code for IX Tech, but if you guys want to buy or like what you see on their website, then I don't know, just send them a message saying that I sent you over. But you can just buy the regular heatsink if you already have the fans and things like that, and the thermal paste for £7, which is maybe $10. And I believe that they're based in the US, so it'll probably get to you quicker. And they also have white PCB boards for the Bitaxe Gamma. Let's go ahead and check this. So that's at 46. That's not good. Let's go here. So maybe it does actually allow it to creep up to that 60-degree mark. That's what we're really looking for, just so we can steady out this efficiency and actually get a good number on how many watts is actually pulling and give us a better average hash rate and efficiency rate. So I'm going to let that run for maybe an hour and a half just to give it some time, and then we'll do an actual comparison after kind of looking based on this fan speed. It looks to be very efficient, I will say that. It looks to be slightly too efficient in terms of the cooling element, as we can't get the fan to run at a low enough RPM to let it climb up to 60. So maybe that's something that you guys want to consider when you're buying this. I wouldn't say it's something bad against it, because it's a pretty good product. If it can't even get the chip temperature up to 60 degrees, that means it's taken away a lot of heat. But we do need it to actually get up to 60 degrees to realize the full kind of hash rate and efficiency. And it might just be something to do with the ASIC voltage and the frequency. The overclocks just don't work for this kind of heatsink. So we could actually up this to like 625 and see if that stables out and kind of increases the temperature just a little bit, so the fan can run a little bit more, and then we'll let that steady out and see what we get. So after letting this run for quite a bit, we came out to an average of around 13.91 joules per terahash with a average of 1.22 terahash. We changed the settings back to default so we could have a better overview of what we're actually looking at in terms of the numbers compared to the normal heatsink. So the efficiency obviously has gotten around 0.5 joules per terahash higher, and the hash rate has got about 0.1 terahash higher as well. So we're getting better hash rates and better efficiencies in terms of that. I think it just needed a little bit to actually counteract the heatsink, as the temperature was kind of staying below the 60 degrees and the fan was trying to counteract for that as well. The watts are slightly up, but that's kind of anticipated when the hash rate goes up a little bit, but the efficiency is down, which is good overall. So I don't mind spending, I don't know, 1.1 watts just to get a better efficiency, which is pretty good. So we're sticking under around 14 joules per terahash at this rate. And I think it was a success overall to change out the heatsink. So we might be trying to get another one of them for our other Bitaxe that we're currently running as well. And then maybe in the future they might bring out something for the Nerd QX based on kind of this design, but we'll see how that works out. As I said, overall pretty good, and I'll leave everything linked in the description if you want to go ahead and get one of those. As I said, I don't have an affiliate link, but you guys can just mention it on checkout or something like that. So if you do have one of these heatsinks as well, let me know your results in the comments below. If you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe for more content like this.